Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about the release of the golf club and what, in my opinion, that means. It's something that you hear spoken about a lot in golf, but I believe that many players get the concept of release wrong and it gives them more problems in their golf swing. So we're going to go through what the release is and some mistakes players make when they are trying to release the club properly. Or if you don't even know what that means, then hopefully this will kind of clear it up for you. So when we look at the best players in the world, especially after impact, when they get to this position, post-impact, the club, the end of the club, the butt of the club is pointing back towards the torso. So that tells us the club has released its angles in a few different ways, and we'll go in more detail on that, but we are not holding this angle coming down. So like the lag angle that you've heard the phrase used, lag coming down, we're not trying to hold that forever because we need to release it to create efficiency and power and speed, and we need to release that at the correct moment in the golf swing. So we'll go through the mistakes first. Some mistakes that I see players make, and the first one I'll go through is the most common one that I see, is people, when they're swinging, they try and maintain this angle all the way through and after impact. And they basically keep the angle in their right wrist and they just keep that going all the way through. But the problem with this is you've lost a lot of power and speed coming back to the ball because you're only getting this motion. And then the other thing that does is it actually causes heel contact or shanks, because when we start to shove the hands forward, they move off the natural arc around the swing and then they go out to the right more, which shoves the club head out to the right, and then you'll start catching the heel of the club. So that would be the issue number one. The next issue that I see is, I hear players say all the time, oh, I don't want to flip the club. And in my opinion, a flip, what people think when they hear the term flip, is the hands going this direction. So turning over like that. Now, if we look at the best players in the world, they actually do that. They just match it up with the body rotation, which doesn't make it a flip, it makes it a release. So what happens is, because players are scared to flip it, they start to then scoop it, which is another issue completely, because the hands are going this way, which adds a lot of loft. So you're going to lose distance because you're turning a, say, 7-iron into a 9-iron. And then it also gives us contact problems because you're moving your low point either before the ball, or the club's then coming up and you'll thin the shot. So a lot of problems can happen from that. So we need to look at the things that actually happen when a professional player strikes the ball. And there's three things if we look at the lead hand, so left hand for a right-handed player. There is forearm rotation, there is flexion and extension, so bowing and cupping, and then from this angle there is hinging and unhinging. And you'll hear people say the term like radial deviation, ulnar deviation. That's just a fancy words for hinge and unhinge. And in the release, we need a combination of all three of those, and that's what all the professionals do. Depending on their grip mechanics, that can affect how much they do each of these things, but they all have these three components. So as they're coming in impact, they are turning the wrist over. They are also unhinging the club, because that's how we get back to the ground in the ball. And then they eventually go into extension or cupping after it. So we're feeling turning, unhinging, and then slight extension after. So it's a combination of all those three. So the easiest way and the drill that we can do this to make it really athletic and simple would be, if we take the club in left hand only, put our right hand on your left arm just to kind of control it. And then I'm going to just take some half swings and swing back and through. And because the club is heavier, the club will start to control what your hand is doing, and you won't have the ability to kind of manipulate it. So we want to just naturally let it go, and you'll start to feel how your forearm rolls over. Because the club's heavier, you'll unhinge the club a little more, and then after impact, the club will start to come hinge back up, and you'll get a little more extension in your wrist. So hit some shots. You can tee the ball up, and then just try hitting some shots, try some practice swings. You're not trying to hit it far, you're just working on the technique. And then try some practice swings where you are just going back and through and just trying to chip it 10-20 yards to begin. And you'll get that feeling, and then when you put your right hand back on it, just try and create the same feeling, and that will make it easier. And that should help a lot of issues with contact, compression, and how we release the club. So that would be a super simple drill that any player can do just to gain the right sensations in the lead hand. And then you can kind of train the trail hand as well and try both to see what kind of resonates with you best. But give that a try, see how it goes. If you've got any questions, as always, leave them in the comments and I will be happy to answer them.